Welcome everybody. I was muted. But welcome everybody to the show. Like I am super excited. We are starting up season 6 and it's about to be a blast. Oh my gosh. Now, for those of you who have supported the show for quite some time, I'm sure you're noticing that there's a bit of a difference. And I just wanted to say with that, you know, I miss my co-host so much. DC is working on some other endeavors to try to promote and build his invention. So he has decided to step down from the role and, move forward in that area. So first and foremost, I just wanted to say, congratulations again, David. The secured suitcase is going to be fire, and we are definitely looking forward for it to come out to mainstream so everybody can purchase it. Like that's what we're waiting for. And secondly, again, we've got so many new changes, so many exciting things that we're going to be doing this season that I am just amped about it. Okay. So, with that being said, I want to go ahead and introduce our guest for tonight as well. Got somebody totally, totally different from what we've done. And like I said, that's why I said we're doing some new things this season. Okay. So, first and foremost, let me introduce this gentleman. Okay. He is a celebrity pro athlete from Brooklyn, New York, who's overcome poverty and violence to become a world class athlete. He's represented the U.S. in international competitions, including a historic trip to North Korea, and has co founded a premier social ping pong club in New York. His determination, spirit, and perseverance make him a true inspiration and role model for anyone facing adversity. He proves that with hard work, dedication, and a positive attitude, anything, and I mean anything, is possible. So, with that being said, let's go ahead and introduce our guest for tonight, Mr. Wally Green. Come on up, sir.
Hey, how are you?
I am good. I'm good. I'm good. I'm so glad again that you were able to participate on our first show. Like, I'm just hyped to have you here, truly.
Happy to be here. Happy to be here.
Well, one thing I want to kind of let the audience know as well. When I was looking into, having different guests and things like that, what really struck a chord with you is um, some of the similarities, I think, with our own lives. And I've just recently written a book, my first part of my autobiography. And although it's similar, in some ways, but they're totally different. But one thing I can say, we both um, had to be subjected to undue trauma, you know what I mean, in our childhoods. And one thing I can say about you, just from even talking to you, it's almost as if you've allowed that situation to fuel you to do everything that you're doing in such a positive light. So I really wanted to kind of dive into that as well and maybe give our audience a little background about you so that they kind of know your backstory as well. So I'm going to give you the opportunity to talk on that.
Yes, definitely, definitely. Well, I grew up in the projects with a mom who was divorced from my dad. Probably when I was one. I don't remember any. I actually don't remember anything about my mom and dad being together. I have no visions of it, anything. So probably when I was one, they divorced. Then my mom married um, an insane, narcissistic abuser,
Ooh,
and this person used to physically abuse my mom, mentally as well, and the same with me. And
right.
I grew up with this person. constantly putting me down, telling me things that I would be dead, I would be in jail, I would never be successful. Just constantly trying to tear us down. And well, because his idea was that he was the king of the castle, and the king of the castle had to let everybody know that he was the king of the castle all the time. And that drove me to gangs and guns at a very early age.
Hmm.
Seeing your mom getting beat up and you can't do anything about it, and you also getting the same, you try to look for an outlet. And for me, the outlet was gangs. So I joined gangs at an early age. By 13, I already owned 6 guns. But the other side of that was sports. So it was, the violence on one side and then the sports on the other side. And that was my childhood.
Wow. Wow. So my thing is though, what made you consider ping pong? Was that something that you were already doing like in your pastime or
No, no, definitely. I actually hated ping pong. I
oh
I completely hated this sport. They had it in my high school. I kind of made fun of the kids that played it. One day I started shooting pool, right? Because I tried to play every sport. I started shooting pool. I went to a pool hall one day to play pool, and I lost. Got really upset. Uh, Slammed my pool stick on the table, and when I did that, the pool stick shattered. And I was the kind of kid that I blamed every single person on everything. So if something happened to me, I could have walked into a wall by myself. I needed to find someone to blame for it. And I saw some kids playing. There was like 2 ping pong tables there, and they were playing. And I went up to them and I says, "Hey, I want to get a hit." And I really didn't want to get a hit. It was just me, just not being a nice person and then trying to take it out on them. So when they asked me, "Do you play this sport?" I said, "No, I don't play this. Just give me the paddle." And the goal was to, when the kid hit me with the ball, smash the ball into his face, and they say, "Oh, my bad," you know. So they're kind of like, just starting trouble. And the kid hit the ball to me. I went to smash the ball, but the angle of the paddle just happened to be in the right angle. The ball goes on the table, beautiful smash. And the kid goes, "Oh my God, you play this?" And I'm like, "No, I don't play this sport." And the kid's like, "Man, you got to go check out this. Is like a real ping pong club where people play." And I was like, "Well, what do you mean?" And he was like, "I'm telling you, it's so good." And I was like, "There's no way there's a place where people actually play this. Like, there's
right.
no way, like, there's a club." And so I went down to this club and I saw people playing. And the crazy thing about it was they were standing back from the table, making these noises, and spinning the ball back and forth. But the most craziest thing about it was that everyone who was playing was black. So everyone who was playing looked like me. And I was
Wow.
like, yeah. And I was like, wait a minute, black people play this? And I was like, well, okay, if black people play this, then I might want to play this too, because I played every sport in school: basketball, football, tennis, volleyball, wrestling, and I was MVP at every sport. So I was like, man, black people play this, I want to play it too. So that's how I got interested in playing the sport.
Wow. Wow. Because that was my first thought. I'm like, okay, ping pong is not your average black sport. You know what I mean? But it's definitely as from your life, it has proven to be a platform that you've been able to use to be able to travel the world and have opportunities that most of us have never experienced. So that's a plus in itself. So when did the transition of ping pong become more serious for you?
Oh wow. Wow. So, you know, during that time, I was very interested in the sport. I got really interested. I used to play this 70-year-old guy. I think he was like maybe older than 70. The guy used to kill me like 21 to like 2. And I used to get angry and break the rackets because, I was like the seasoned athlete losing to some guy who's like 72 and can't walk. And
Mhm.
I was just so competitive. And so I wanted to play more and more. And I had just gotten through a huge situation with my mother and my stepfather. Just luckily got out of that. And at the time, I was kind of living on the streets, and I would go to this club to play all the time. I would just go to play, try to find a game, and then I meet this guy randomly who goes, "Hey, you have a partner? And I said, oh no. And he goes, well, I'm looking for a partner. I can pay you $20 every time you play with me. We'll play 2 times a week. I was like, whoa, what? $20? At that time I didn't have any money. Like I said, I was in the street. So, $20 just to hit balls with someone. And I sucked. But
Mm.
$20, hell yeah. So I started to play with this guy, 2 times a week, and he would pay me cash, and there's money I could get food and stuff with, and I became pretty close to him, and then we started talking a lot. And then, I would tell him my situations, like, where I was at, and I was always straightforward about, my life and what I was going through, and the things I was doing. Um, but for him, it was more like a TV show, right? If you never really experienced that life, or you don't know anyone who lives in that life, it's very hard to understand, right? No one can really understand how a 13-year-old has 6 guns, right? Most people can't. But
Yeah,
you
yeah,
talk to people that I grew up with, everyone's like, yeah, okay, that's nothing. It's nothing special. It's something that's pretty normal. So, yeah, man, did this guy would help me and pay, and one day I went to the club, and 22 fell out of my bag. And when it fell, he saw it. And, the first thing I said was like, yo, I got to go because I don't know what he's going to do. Maybe he's going to call police. I don't know what he's going to do. And I want to find out. And so I left. And the first thing I thought about was like, there goes my $20. I'm not going to make that money anymore. But, whatever. And he calls me 2 days later and he says, hey, are we still playing? So I was surprised, like the guy just saw gunfire in my bag and he's talking about we still playing. All right. So, I went down and meet him and, we play. And he says, hey, I want you to meet my family.
hmm
And I want you to come to visit he has a house near Hunter Mountain, which is like 2.5 hours away from New York City. Right. And, it was kind of weird that this guy who saw a gun fall in my bag is inviting me to go to 2 hours away from New York City uh, to his family to meet his house. But, I wasn't worried. Like I said, I always had a weapon on me. So if any funny stuff was going down, I wasn't really worried about it.
right.
But I was thinking about that $20 I was getting all the time. I was like, yeah, all right, whatever, let's do it. So we go to his house and we get to his house, and it's meet his family. They have a really nice house, very big, live in the woods. Um, you know, it, they sit down and have dinner, and they're passing food along the table. They got a long table, and thank you, and yes please, and no please, and just really, how was your day today? How was school? And and it felt like I was in some like weird, I don't know, like in the Matrix somewhere.
Yeah, real
Like,
unfamiliar.
I was like, whoa, you know. And then I started to get a little angry. Not really angry, but why does this dude bring me here to see this? Right?
Right,
You already know what my situation is. So why are you trying to, make me see this situation?
right,
Right?
right.
And so after we eat, whatever, he talks to me. I play with them ping pong. They had a ping pong table in their house. And then he says, listen, I really want to help you. I have a connection in Germany, and I'm gonna pay for you to go to Germany to learn ping pong. And that was the beginning. That was the beginning and the start right there. And he paid for me to go to Germany, to live in Germany and learn ping pong.
Wow. I mean, like, that just seems so out of the blue, but at the same time, it lets you know that everybody has a destiny and intended purpose. And that was just your time. You know what I mean? Oh my God, like I would have never guessed that. But that is so cool. So you were literally in Germany at like 14, 15 years old?
16.
16. Oh my
Yeah.
gosh. So what was that like experiencing that for the first time? I mean,
Um, it was, it was pretty crazy, right? Because just because you take the kid out the hood, it didn't mean that all of a sudden overnight I just changed into this good kid and it disappeared. No, I was still the violent, angry kid who just decided, yeah, I want to go to Germany. And people there, when I got there, everyone was being really nice and they were like, oh my God, you're from America. You're from New York. Oh wow, we love New York. Oh, we love America. Hey, come talk to us. Hey, this, hey, that. And for me, it was like, what? I was kind of like, I had more stress because,
right,
you know, where I'm from, people doing that, then that means they want something from you.
right,
This is something wrong. And I didn't know how to react to that, right? There's this saying called killing you with kindness, right?
hmm
So So they were being really, really kind, and I didn't know how to react because I wanted to be angry. I was an angry kid. I wanted to be angry. I wanted to always be angry, and I couldn't. It's very hard to be angry when people are saying, "Hey, I love you, man. I love you. You're the coolest. You're the coolest ever." So for a while, I was pretty confused, and eventually, I have this little birdie that I don't know if you call it a birdie, a god, or divine intervention, like whatever the millions of names that you want to call it,
Mm-hmm.
who visited me prior to that, which was completely life saving, came to me and said, "Hey, you know, why are you angry? You're not in America. You're not in a gang.
Right.
You don't have to watch your back. No one's trying to get you. People genuinely like you, not because of what you can do for them. They like you just because you're you. So why are you upset? Why are you angry?" And once I figured that out, then I started to be more friendly, and I started to, embrace the whole situation, of being there, and being around these kids who, for them, I was like fascinating. I was like a celebrity already. Than anything, and I started to embrace it, and
Mm-hmm.
and, and that was the start of my mindset change, right?
Wow.
And
Okay.
yeah, it was just pretty crazy,
I
pretty crazy.
bet. I bet. So, what we're going to do first, we're going to take a quick commercial break, and then we are going to come back and continue and find out more about your experience in Germany and the whole ping pong journey. So, give us just a moment, and we will be right back.
Imagine your favorite taste as a smell, intensified 10 times, in a bottle so strong that one spray brightens your day and it lasts all day long, and in some cases, all week. What if I told you you can have it in your life and it can fit in your pocket? I would not advise you to eat it, although you may want to, but you can spray it wherever you want. We call it the Stinky Stopper because it smells so good, it just changes your mood and puts a smile on your face.
All right, well, we are back, and we were talking about your transition, your blessing, basically, that you got to go to Germany and basically change your life and learn ping pong. So again, being out there, of course, it's a culture shock. You're coming from the city, you're coming from America. You already have like certain walls and defenses up, and now you're put into a position where it's almost like you've got to reprogram your mind, so to speak, in order to be able to embrace this new environment, right? So, with that being said, you know, um, how did it affect you per se, having to really leave the states and leave your mother or leave that toxic situation to now somewhat be free of it?
I mean, I had already left my mother, already,
Wow.
way in the beginning of the year. I got
Hmm.
there was a situation, where I came back, and my stepfather was trying to, choke my mother, and this was after I got sent to. I went to Africa for 2 years. I got sent away to boarding school, because I had a problem in school before that with possession of a weapon, and instead of doing time in jail, they convinced them that I would go to boarding school, and
Hmm.
so I had came back from there, and I was much stronger, and I was trying to protect my mom. And to make a long story short, my mom turned on me, and in the process, I actually pulled out a weapon on my stepfather and my mom. And so, yeah, I was going to end their lives that night. But as I mentioned before, the little birdie that talks to me, said, "Hey, if you do this, everything your father said about you being dead or in jail, being useless, being blah blah blah, all of this, it's going to happen today."
Yeah.
And I chose to walk away. So I walked away from that household, a year, like 1 year right before this whole ping pong thing started happening. I was already living in the streets already.
Wow.
Yeah,
Wow.
yeah, yeah, yeah. So I was already, I you know, I was already out, and then that's how I found the ping pong.
Hmm. Hmm. Wow. Okay. So from the time in which you started learning the craft up until the time of your first competition, or when competitions became a part of the journey, how long was that?
That was really quick.
Mm.
It was really it was actually, I'm laughing now because now I'm just remembering how quick it was. It
Uh-huh.
was so quick. Like you figure, I think I started playing on the pro tour. We talk about the pro tour is like the highest level.
Yeah.
2 years. In 2 years, I was already on the pro tour.
Wow. That
In
is quick.
just 2 years,
Yeah,
which is,
that's quick.
I think it was 2 years, right? It's got to be 2 years because let me see. The video game was no. Wrong. Totally wrong. Totally wrong. I'm thinking of something else. No. I wasn't on the pro tour in 2 years. I started playing professionally in 2 years, but I
Okay.
didn't play on the pro tour in 2 years. I started playing tournaments in America, started winning tournaments, started uh, 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 playing all over the country, playing
Mhm.
nationals, playing US Open, playing different tournaments around, started winning tournaments and stuff like that. And then I got a big break. The company called Rockstar Games. It's a pretty
Mm.
famous company. They make Grand Theft Auto, one of the most famous games in the
Right,
world.
right.
Yeah, so I was at a tournament in Chinatown, local, very local tournament, not even a big one, very very local one put together by the Chinese community, and I went there to go play this tournament. And in one of my matches, I played this kid who had just came from China. He was visiting, but he played in tournament too, and we were playing each other, right? And every time the kid would make a point, he would go, "Yeah, Chile!" and do these crazy sounds. I was like, what's wrong with this kid? So I was like, all right, you want to play this game? I'm from the hood. I'm gonna bring out the hood. So then I would make a point and I'd be like, yeah, that's it, baby. Come on, send him back, let's go. And I would start talking trash. I was talking crazy trash to this kid, right? Because every time he make a point, he'd be like, oh, in my face, and I'll make a point, send him. We were going back and forth. So it was very, very loud. And Rockstar Games happened to be at that tournament. And after the match, you know, Rockstar Games comes up to me and says, "Hey, um, we're Rockstar Games. Do you know Rockstar Games?" I said, "Of course, I know Rockstar Games. Grand Theft Auto, of course." And they were like, "Well, we are looking to make a table tennis game, the world's first realistic table tennis game. Will you be interested in helping?" 100%. I didn't even think about money. I didn't ask any of that. I was 100% on because Rockstar Games, anything Rockstar Games is doing, I'm doing. Answer was yes, 100%. I was like, yes. I didn't even talk about money, didn't care. 100% yes.
Right, right.
Yep. Because the thing is, I always, even as a kid, I always looked ahead.
Mm-hmm.
I'm a forward thinker. I always think ahead. I'm thinking about, okay, maybe there's no money today.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe a year later, there's something bigger than the money I would have had today. So that's the way my brain works. I always think ahead. I always think ahead. And so right then in that point, in my mind, was even about the video game. It was about sponsorship. In my
Right.
mind, I was like, this is the opportunity to get sponsored by a major company, right? So I'm not even worried about how much I'm going to get paid for it. I didn't even ask. I didn't care. My main goal was Rockstar Games equals sponsorship. And
Right.
when they said Rockstar Games, the first thing that clicked into my head was sponsorship.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Well, the first thing, and I was like, and so I made this game with them, um, and this game did really well. It beat all the sports games. It was voted number one sports game of the year. It beat Madden, it beat NBA Live, it beat all these games. And the crazy thing about it was, I was like, man, this thing is doing well. I was like, maybe I should ask them for sponsorship. And I
Mm-hmm.
got paid. I got paid to help make this game. But then I was like, I should ask them for sponsorship because I want to play on the pro tour, right? So I want to play now. I've been playing. I'm pretty good, and I'm like, I want to play on this pro tour. I want to play on the highest level, and you need money for that. It's really hard. First you need the level. Then after the level, you need money.
Okay.
because you have to pay for, if you're flying all over the world, you have to pay for airfare, food, hotel. I mean, each tournament is at least over 2K, at least minimum each one you're going to, right? And so and I did 35 a year, 35 tournaments in a year.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow. Yeah, that's a lot. That's a lot.
So I was like, hey, I want to know if you guys could sponsor me. I want to play on the pro tour. And I would wear, Rockstar Games clothing and stuff like that. And it was like an easy yes. It wasn't even like a debate. It was and I think the reason why it was an easy yes was because, when I was helped make when I did 90% of the most 90% of the motion capture of that game is from me. Whatever they asked, I did. I didn't complain. They said come at 5 a.m. I was there at 5 a.m. If they said leave, you're leaving late, I was leaving late. I never complained. I never said, oh, this is hard, even when it was hard, because doing motion capture for sports is extremely physical. It is extremely hard. A lot of people don't understand when you're making something for a video game, you have to cover every possible movement. So it's
Yeah.
very, very, very difficult. But I never complained. And I think they like that. And they agreed to sponsorship, right? So I got 50K for 1 year and 50K for another year of money that I could use. Yeah. So I was like, whoa, I get all this money now. Let me talk to the US team and see if they can agree. And they agreed. And I started playing the Pro Tour just like that. Literally just like that. I had the money to do it. Started playing the Pro Tour, started playing all over the world, like for the US team. And it was crazy because it was never a dream of mine. A lot of people say, yeah, I was living out my dream. I can't even say that because it wasn't, being, world class or professional ping pong player was never my dream, right? It was something that came on to me. But I'm always good at how you say it, at taking an opportunity and making it worth something, right?
Yeah.
I'm very adaptable. And I was like, all right, well, if I can do this, I want to do it. And so, I played all over the world, every major country in the world, going around and just playing ping pong. Like it was crazy. And I was probably the worst player in the world too, especially when I first started. I was by far the worst player in the world.
Wow. Wow. So now we've gotten to the point where you are sponsored. You're going into the like national competitions now.
No, international.
International, excuse me. International competitions now. So when is it, or like what's your age now once you won your first official international game, and how did you feel in that moment?
So when you say won your first international game, you mean won your first international match
Yes.
against one person, or
Yes.
you mean won the whole tournament?
The whole tournament.
No, it's not. That never happened. China, and more China.
Oh
No
God.
chance. Zero chance. Zero. I tell you something funny, because this goes on with what the question kind of like fits in. When I was playing on the Pro Tour, especially in the beginning, I was the worst player in the world. So what that means is that I was traveling from New York, let's say, to China, right? Very far. And I would have to play these matches, right? So normally in a group, actually, they were so nice to me that they would make sure I had 3 people in my group and not 2, right? Because if you have 2 people in your group, that's only 2 matches.
Mm-hmm.
They would make sure that I had 3. Like everyone liked me because I brought something different to the sport, right? I brought this flair, I brought this coolness, right? And so anyway, I would travel. So let's say I had 2 people in my group. I would travel from America to China. Now, mind you, this tournament goes on for about 3 to 4 days, right? So I travel America to China, got to pay for airfare, got to pay for hotel. Maybe I play one match at 10:30, and maybe the next one at 3, and I've lost both of them. My tournament's over. That's it. Done.
Wow.
Finished. Yeah. So I've traveled all this way, and I would lose, and I would lose badly, like badly. I would get destroyed, man. Like 11-2, 11-3. Couldn't get 5 points. Really, I couldn't get 5 points. I was getting destroyed every time I traveled. It was the same outcome. Under 5, under 5, under 5, under 5. To where people started saying, like, I remember one kid came and told me, he said, "Oh, why do you continue to play?" That's what he asked me. And so I said, "Are you number one?" He said, "No." I said, "Are you top 10?" He said, "No." And I said, "Well, why do you continue to play?" Right. So people in the beginning, people were looking down on me, right? Because I wasn't that good.
Right.
But there was one thing that I had that was different. I had to fight, right? I had to fight. I could be losing 10-0. They need 11. If I made 1 point, you would hear me go, "Yo!" I would get pumped up for that 1 point. I would get pumped up. And then I realized, and I think this, which I'm going to tell you now, is very important for life in general. This is probably one of the most important life lessons that people can learn. The reason why I wasn't winning wasn't because I was really bad, right? I was training every single day, 8 hours a day. It wasn't because I was really bad. It's because I had the wrong mindset. My mindset was wrong. In my mind, because I've played, all these other sports, and I was MVP in all these other sports, and I was the best at all these other sports. In my mind, it just made sense that I was going to be the best in this sport. And in my mind, I would say, I can beat this guy. I know I can beat this guy. I know I can beat that guy. I know I can beat that guy. Right. But the problem with that is that I really couldn't beat that guy. Right. That guy started at 3. I started at 16, 17 years old. That guy started at 3.
Yeah.
Right. So by saying that, I wasn't respecting the athlete, and I wasn't respecting the sport. And when you think you know everything and you think you can beat everyone, guess what? You can't learn.
Right.
There's no way you can learn from this. You will not learn. So eventually I started to sit back and figure out why am I losing? Why am I putting so much time into something every single day and I'm losing? I never take it as failure, because for me, failure does not exist in my vocabulary. It's a learning experience. If it doesn't work out, you have to learn from it. If you don't learn from it, then it's failure. And I started to say, okay, you know what? Let's rearrange these goals, right? A lot of times people make these goals and the goals actually don't make real sense, right? And someone will say, you know what? I want to be a billionaire. And I'm like, bro, you haven't even got to a millionaire yet. Like, you need to make steps that make sense, right? The small steps that actually make sense to get you to your goal. So what I said, you know what? I just want to get 5 points. If I get 5 points, I'm the world champion. I'm the champion of the world. Just get 5 points against these guys, I'm a champion. So instead of fighting to beat this person, I was fighting to get 5 points, a goal that actually made sense, realistic goals. And I would fight for 5 points. And I would get 5 points and I would go, yeah! And I would lose. The score would be 4-0, maybe 11-2, 11-1, 11-3, 11-5. And I would be so happy. And people in the world thought I was crazy. Everyone thought I lost my mind. They were like, what's wrong? What's wrong with this guy? He just got killed. But they didn't know I made these goals. I had these goals in my head. So I said, okay, you know what? Let me get 5 points in every game. If I lose 4-0, it's fine. As long as it's 5 in every game. And guess what? Got 5 in every game because I made goals that made sense. And more importantly, I celebrated those smaller goals. So when I celebrated each goal, it gave me the motivation to do it. And I did that all the way up to winning my first match. And that's how I won my first match. It was a total mindset change in the way that I was thinking. And that's the way I won the first match. It was like that.
Wow. This is getting so good. And we haven't even scratched the surface yet. That's the good part. But we're going to take another quick commercial break. And we will be back to dive in a little deeper into Wally Green's journey. So Give us just a few moments.
Does your business need more visibility? Need more affordable marketing platforms? Don't let your foundation crumble. Advertise with us, shaking up the algorithms, where we shift your marketing one show at a time. We have package prices starting as low as $25. Contact us for more details via email, twinforceproductions@gmail.com.
Okay, well, little technical difficulty there, but that's okay, you know. So now we're gonna get back to this story here, because now we're getting to the real nitty gritty of things. You know, you've now won your first match. You have basically transformed yourself into making those small goals so that they become, you know, the transition that you need to totally change your mindset, right? And that's why I titled this show "Defeat is Not an Option," because you haven't allowed anything to deter you or distract you from reaching the ultimate goal. You're like the true testament to that to me. So from this point now, we're looking at, you know, you playing international ping pong. Where did it come to the point where now you're even considering a ping pong club? How did that come about?
Oh, that's funny. Yeah, so some big events happened before that. I the first thing that happened was I got my first TV interview. That came before the whole club thing, and it was with Steve Harvey. So I was doing a charity event in Virginia Beach, and Steve Harvey's team reached out to me, and they were like, "Hey, you know, we want you to fly in tomorrow to Chicago to be interviewed by Steve on the show." And I was like, "Whoa, Steve Harvey!" I was like, "Hell yeah, let's do it!" Boom. I was like, "All right, this is good," you know. So I went to Steve Harvey's show and did this interview, and that was that one big thing that year. And I was like, "Well, this is really cool." And then the next year came along, and I started thinking, like, "Man, what can I do big this year?" And I started looking at all my tournaments for the year, and I saw the North Korea. I was like, North Korea, whoa, this is crazy. I was like, Dennis Rodman was just in North Korea. I was like, I want to go to North Korea so bad. I gotta go to North Korea, because the first thing I thought about, the reason why I thought about I wanted to go to North Korea was because there's a very big piece of American history. 1971, America established relations with China is through the ping pong. It's called the ping pong diplomacy. Mm-hmm. And I was like, you know what? I want to do my own ping pong diplomacy for world peace in North Korea, which sounds crazy, right? You know, this kid from the project talking about he wanted to do diplomacy for world peace in North Korea. But like I said, there was nothing that I wanted to do that anyone could stop me. And I thought it was going to happen. And I was like, I want to do that. I need to go to North Korea. So I called up the US team and said, hey, listen, sign me up for the North Korea competition. And they were like, what? And I was like, yeah, sign me up. It's like, oh, we don't think that's a good. I'm not asking you. Just sign me up. Just put my name in the draw. Just sign me up, and I will handle everything myself. So they signed me up, and I contacted, you know, everyone in the world to go, and everyone said, you're crazy, you're gonna die, they're gonna kill you, blah blah blah. Not one person said let's go, and I thought it would be such a cool thing, right? Because at the time, you know, I mean, even still now, you know, North Korea was just very like, you know, kill Americans and blah 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 and this and that, and I figured, man, if part of the world went there to play ping pong as a team, right, as a world team, that would be such a big thing. But every single person told me no around the world. Wow. Teammates, no, everyone. So I said, okay, you know what? If no one wants to do it, I'm going to do it by myself. So I went there by myself, alone, to do this diplomacy for world peace. And it was pretty huge. It was, you know, I didn't have a plan. I didn't know how it was going to work. You know, I had no idea of how I was going to do it. But, you know, the first step of anything in life is taking action. Exactly. Right. So if you want to do it there, you got to get there first. Exactly. And it kind of worked out. You you know, I made it work. I connected with a crowd of like 5,000 people. It was the craziest thing ever. But you know, these kind of successes um, is what led me to say, you know what? If you have an idea, just do it. Just do it. Doesn't matter. If people like it, they don't want to do. Just do it, right? Because you never know. It might work out. If it doesn't work out, fine. At least you put yourself out on the line. You took that action to make it happen, right? And that's the kind of person I was. And then, you know, so many interviews later, magazines later, and stuff like that. Um, I was playing in a tournament, another tournament that was here in the country, and I was playing against this player, and the coach was being really obnoxious, and you know, I got really angry, and I told the coach, I'm like, "Yo, if you don't shut up, I'm gonna punch you in the face for 10 minutes." Right. And when I said that, these two guys, they thought what I said was really funny. You know, the whole punch, well, punch in the face for 10 minutes. Who says that? And then after the match, they came to me and they says, hey, you know, we have this loft apartment. And we have a ping pong table there. You know, would you be interested in coming to play with us sometime, give us some lessons, whatever? Okay. So I would go and play with these three guys, right? And they were
Right.
yeah, and at the time they were filmmakers. So these guys were filmmakers. And I would go and play with them. Then I wind up living in this apartment. So I wind up living in this apartment with these three guys who are filmmakers. Then we decided, you know, let's have a party. Let's like invite people and play ping pong. So we would invite people over to play ping pong, like just for fun. You know, bring your own beer, food, whatever, and just put on some music and play ping pong. And we'd all play ping pong, right? And just for fun, just for fun. These parties got bigger and bigger. They got huge to where this apartment was filled with people. Then we decided to get our DJ. And if I tell you who our first DJ it was, uh, you're gonna be surprised. Do you,
Uh-oh.
do you, do you know who Dame Dash is?
I do.
Dame Dash's son, Boogie Dash, was our DJ. That was our first DJ.
Wow.
Yeah. So he used to DJ our parties at our apartment. So now we had a DJ. He's a really good DJ. Even till now, he's like really plays in like the best clubs. So he would DJ our parties. Now we had a DJ now. And he was like, you know what? Let's create a website. Right? Let's create a website. And let's call it Naked Ping Pong. Right? And naked wasn't mean that we were naked, but naked was the state of mind. Like live life free, enjoy, don't worry about anything, just have fun. Come here, you have fun, right? And so our website started getting blown up, started getting lots of hits. The party started getting even bigger. Now sponsors are coming out of the woodworks. You know, Red Bull's like, hey, you know, we want to give you product. We can't give you any money. This is a story with every sponsor. We can't give you any money, but we can give you all the product you want. Okay, we'll take it. So now we had a big Red Bull fridge in an apartment. Then beer companies, vodka companies, all of them. Hey, you know what? We can't give you any money, but we can give you all the product. Okay, no problem. We'll take all the vodka. We'll take all the beer. And then we started to think, how can we make money from this? Right? How can this make money? Right? Then we came up with the idea, you know what? How about we charge people $20 for the tournament? Right? Because you can't sell alcohol in an apartment. It's illegal.
Right.
So let's charge $20 for the tournament, which wins you a prize, but you get to drink for free because you can give alcohol away, but you can't sell it. So you can drink all night long for free, unlimited drinks for free. Red Bull, vodka, beer, unlimited for free. $20 is for the tournament, right? And so there was no place in New York City where you can go and drink for free for $20, unlimited. Didn't exist.
True.
Still doesn't exist. And so people would come, and we made it at a time like, let's say 7 or 8-ish, right? Because this is the time that you might be looking to go out and pregame, right? This is the time that maybe you're going to start going out, right? But you're usually going to be out by 11. So people would come there first, right? Pay their $20, have fun. DJs playing music, people having fun, and drink all night long. And so these parties, they got so big to where we had a line around the block. Now picture an apartment, like an apartment building, and there's a line around the block of people trying to get into this apartment. So this got bigger and bigger. Eventually, we met the actress Susan Sarandon, um, and one of my partner's friends is Susan's assistant, and she had needed a video edited for Tim Robbins at the time, and the assistant was like, "Well, we know these guys in this apartment; they're all filmmakers. Remember, I tell you, my friends were filmmakers. They're all
Right.
filmmakers, and they could bang it out, and you can come check this party out." And so I remember the day I came, and she was sitting there, and I was like, "She looks familiar," and it was freaking Susan Sarandon, right? Legendary actress, you know, and eventually her and my friend, they started dating, you know, that there's a whole crazy thing in the media, like for a while going on. It's pretty intense. But then, you know, all good things come to an end. We had to get out of the apartment. They want to sell the building, blah, blah. And then we try to figure out how can we take this to the next level? Like, you know, we don't want to just let this disappear. What can we do to take it to the next level? So we came up with a business plan, handed it to Susan, of course, and Susan helped us find investors and the space, and yeah, and that's how we opened the first location. So the first uh, uh, location of our spin club in New York, you know, was directly a result of Susan helping us.
Wow.
Yep.
Wow.
That's how it started.
Man, oh my gosh. So let me kind of let the audience see a little bit of what the spin environment looks like. I actually have a clip that I'm gonna show from your Times Square opening. So I'm gonna play that now.
Finally, our grand opening party for our Times Square Midtown location is tomorrow, and I'm so pumped up. But the craziest thing just happened earlier today. A robot said he would massively come on my table and beat me. And some of you are probably wondering, what in the world is this dude even talking about? Well, you can check out my TikTok if you really want to get the gist of it. Now, there's absolutely no way a robot is going to massively come anywhere and beat me, especially the day before our grand opening party. So I decided I was going to take on this robot's challenge. And not only was I ready for the challenge, I was going to do it with an old iPhone. An old iPhone 6, that is. Not a Plus, a regular size old iPhone 6. So it turns out even the latest tech cannot outwit the human spirit. So join us tomorrow at our grand opening party, because we're celebrating not only our fantastic new location, but also my epic victory over the robot. It's going to be a night of laughter, entertainment, and delicious food. See you all there.
Now, I'm just going to admit, like, that is fire. Like, it really is. It gives you, like, the urban chic kind of feel. You got the artwork and graffiti, and, you know, then you got, like, this club kind of vibe. But at the same time, it's like ping pong fun.
Yeah.
Like, it's like you were able to combine all of that into one place, into one thing. So with the New York, well, with the first one that you opened up, how long was it before you opened up Times Square? And are there any other locations as well?
Yeah, so the New York one has been open now. It's been about 15 years.
Wow.
Yeah, so New York one was the first one, and it's been open, yeah, pretty much 15 years. There were others that were actually that were actually open after that, which closed. So the second one that was open was actually in what city is that now? Now I'm forgetting the name of the city. I'm forgetting the name of the city. Oh my God, I'm forgetting it. It's a very heavily college populated city. What is the name? I totally forgot it.
Is it Boston? I'm gonna know that.
No. So we have one in Boston.
Okay.
But this one was actually it's closed. Oh, okay, I remember now. So the second one we had was Milwaukee.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah. So the first one is New York, 23rd Street. The second one was Milwaukee, right?
Hmm.
And that was more of a franchise. So we didn't own that. As with Toronto. And there was some issue with the owners, and they wind up shutting it down, opening it up again as something else completely. But that was the second one. But since then, now we have Boston, we have Chicago, we have Philadelphia, we have San Francisco, we have Washington D.C., Toronto, and Seattle, and the Times Square location, which is literally a few months ago. So
Right.
15 years later, from 23rd Street and Park Avenue to Times Square. So 15 years.
Man, that is like awesome. It really is. That's awesome to see the fruition of how everything just came to be. And now you're like, you know, not just an international athlete, but you're also a world, renowned business owner in multiple cities. Like that is huge. That is super huge. Man, I like so your story, like I said, from the beginning, I was hooked. I was hooked. And your story definitely embodies being able to take something negative and turning it into positive. And I think that's something that you have strived to live by throughout your entire life. Do you or have you also had speaking engagements or things of that nature, other humanitarian events or things
Yeah,
like that?
yeah. So was it last year I started with 24? So it's 2022. Let me see, New York Times article. So what happened is something really crazy happened. I have been being interviewed on lots of podcasts, and then the New York Times uh, wanted to interview me, and I was like, "Oh my God, the New York Times! That's crazy." Like, I've been in a lot of magazines and newspapers, but we talking about New York Times, right? And not only did they want to interview me, they wanted to do a very extensive interview. So they interviewed me for 4 days. I had a
Mm,
4-day interview with the New York Times and a 1-day photo shoot, and it was about my life story, and it covered everything. And in that article, they had mentioned that I was a TEDx speaker, but I wasn't a TEDx speaker yet.
right.
I was going to do the TEDx talk. It hadn't happened yet, and I never really liked public speaking. I actually hated public speaking. I was never interested, ever, ever, ever. Had no interest, zero, zero. And I got asked to do TEDx talks twice, and I said no. And once they came with me and they said, we really want you to do this. And we want you to gear it towards kids. And I do everything for kids. So I was like, kids, 100%, let's do it. So because of this article, then everyone started to reach out to me as a speaker. And I wasn't a speaker. I was not a speaker, right? But I am extremely competitive. So what that means is that I refuse to fail in any situation. It doesn't matter what it is. If I'm not a speaker and I'm put on that stage, I'll be a speaker today, right? It's like
Right.
when you go play internationally and you play this tournament, it's 0-0, right? I'm nervous for every tournament. I'm always nervous, right? But when the referee umpire says, okay, 0-0, time to play, nervousness has to go out and you got to step up your game.
Mm-hmm.
So all of a sudden, I became a speaker. I did this TEDx talk. And after the TEDx talk, I got contacted by a company called Reckitt, right? Through an agency. And Reckitt is a multi-billion-dollar conglomerate. So they own Lysol, they own Mucinex, they own Durex condoms, uh, all these products, health and wellness, etc. And
Mm-hmm.
they contacted me. And they says, "Hey, we want you to come speak at our sales summit." And And the reason I'm talking about this is because this can happen to anyone. So people should be prepared and know what to expect and what to say, because I did it. I listen, this big company came and tell me, and it says, hey, we want you to speak at our sales summit to 150 sales execs. And I was like, what? And I didn't listen. I didn't answer the mail. I didn't even answer the mail because I was like, I can't speak to no sales execs. I can't do this. And I didn't know what to do. And I started Googling, they wanted to know my rate. I had no rate. I don't know what I'm doing. So I Googled stuff. And then I met this lady through Googling, and I found a website where she wrote something interesting. And I reached out to her, hoping that she would get back to me. And she got back to me really quickly. She said, hey, I just read your New York Times article. Just so happened she read my New York Times article. And because of this one person, now I love public speaking. Doesn't matter where it is, I can speak anywhere. Because now I understand why someone wants me to speak there. I understand the reason why. And, when I was telling her, I don't know what to do, she told me something very important. I think this is good for everyone to know if you're interested in doing public speaking. Mm-hmm. She said, your story is always going to be your story. It's always going to be so. People hire you. People that reach out to you hire you because they know your story. She said, people do not reach out to you if they don't know anything about you. Just come and speak. They've done their research. They know about your story. Mm-hmm. So it's not that you're going to go there and you're going to talk about sales. No, that's not why they hired you, because they would hire a person who specializes in sales.
Right.
They hired you for your inspiration. They hired you for your motivation through your life story. Mm-hmm. So what you're going to do is you're going to tailor your life story to whatever theme they want. And when she said that, I was like, no way. Are you serious? Is that how it works? She was like, yes. This woman, her name is Dory Clark. She's the top 50 businesswoman in the entire world.
Wow.
Lives in New York City. And man, she told me another piece of advice, which is unbelievable. I told her, I was like, listen, I don't know what to charge. She said, for this kind of event, you charge 10K. And I said, I can't charge 10K. So are you crazy? What? That's so stupid. I'm not going to try my tell anybody to pay me 10K to speak for 40 minutes. It's crazy. She told me another great piece of advice. She said, listen, if you don't charge what the rate is, they'll think you're an amateur and they won't hire you anyway.
Wow.
And I was like, oh, I got it.
Yeah.
And I charged 10K. And they said, we don't have 10, but we have 8. I would have done that talk for $1,000. To be honest. Listen, if they really gave me $1,000 to speak for 40 minutes, I would have took that as a win. That was a win.
Right. Right.
For 40 minutes, which it was just crazy. And then from there, I was like, oh my God, public speaking is actually easy for me. I'm natural. It's just a natural thing for me to do, to tell my story and inspire and motivate people, And so now I love it. Now I just love public speaking. I love it so much. And whenever, I get to do it, it's amazing. Like I actually be speaking at Podfest coming up, which is going to be in Orlando. I was the keynote speaker last year, the closing keynote speaker last year for Podfest, which was in Miami? Was it in Miami not Miami. It was Orlando. No, it was Miami. In Miami last year, I was the closing keynote speaker. So yeah, I love it now. Now it's my thing. I just want to speak.
Wow. Man. Well, I just wanted to also have you to let the audience know, how can they reach you if they want to book you, or if they want to, just experience more about Wally Green? What are some of your social media platforms or handles where you can be reached?
I think the best place to reach me right now is going to be my Instagram, because I've been taking time out to do Instagram. I had a website up, but I actually took it down because it's an old part of me, and I need to revamp the whole thing and do it over. So it doesn't make sense to keep it up. So I took it down, and everybody reaches through me through website or email. Wally Green NYC. You can find me on everything.
All right, all right. Well, Wally, again, I just wanted to thank you so much for being on the show tonight. Trust and believe, you are like the starting point of a great season. So I really do appreciate you being here.
Thank you.
And your
Appreciate it.
story definitely transcends for any age.
Yes.
There's so much to gain from your experience and just the inspiration and the motivation that you have. It is definitely awe inspiring.
Thank you. Appreciate it. Appreciate it.
Well, thank you so much. And we are going to get ready to end off the show. But what we are going to do, we've got a new segment that I have created called Words of Wisdom. And it's just an opportunity to allow people to, get some nuggets that'll be able to help you throughout the week. So for me, just wanted to let you all know, these last 7 days already in the 2024 has been huge. Okay. I have learned some really life altering and valuable lessons in a short amount of time. So I'm going to go down the list, right? First thing that I've learned is when you're communicating with people, learn to respond effectively before reacting abruptly. Okay? So, the beauty of forgiveness is like unconditional love. But if you don't have it for yourself, you're not able to give it to anyone else. Okay? 3, forward movement is essential and change is inevitable. Don't get stuck in a cycle that no longer serves you. 4, your value isn't predicated on the affections of a man or a woman. If you don't believe in your own worth, you won't appreciate when someone else does. And lastly, number 5, you may not be for everybody. It just is what it is. But use my language, y'all. Don't let a motherfucker dim your shine, okay? And make sure that you keep rising to the top. And with that being said, we are going to end this week's show of Shaking Up the Algorithms. Trust and believe, next week we got some fire guests coming and we're going to have a great discussion. So with that being said, you all have a great night. Thank you so much to our guests and to our sponsors for their advertisement this week. And we look forward to the remaining sponsors that we're going to be highlighting as well for the rest of the month. So thank y'all again. So excited for the first show. And I can't wait to see you all next week.
Find us on our social media page. Tune in for our next video. Make sure to like and subscribe. And don't forget to turn on post notifications so you won't miss out on any future episodes.